Yeah, yeah.
I think it's a great map for Banshees because getting
Who
creep
was
spread.
it? Was it Happy or Bunny in the? I'm mixing up all my Terrans now in the group stage. I think it was Happy that went for the Hellion Banshee and then just got the armory real quickly afterwards.
Happy, you say?
Yeah, I'm feeling as Happy. I saw a game like that really recently, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure.
Could well be Happy. I mean, if you saw Happy on this map, there are a few things that Happy would probably do to you. So he'd go for a Reaper opening, then he'd kind of go for a semi-bunker rush, where he'd put a bunker in your mineral line at your natural, and he'd force you to like overreact or whatever. If you don't overreact, you're fine. But then he'd open up like 2 Reapers and a Banshee, and then like 6 or 8 Hellions with it. Like he really, really loves that style. Whereas Bunny, he's a lot less predictable. Like he's also a guy that, you know, you see him play against Snoot, and he'll probably 2-rack Snoot. Like he's a guy that really can do anything. And
yeah, well, this is you mentioned 2-racks, like this is the map for it, but it looks like we're gonna get a command center first build out of Bunny, so he's not really worried about the earliest stages of this game, more so thinking about that mid game stage.
CC first incoming from Liquid Bunny here. You can tell that because he hasn't actually made a Rax or a Gas at this point in time, so it's going to be CC first against Hatch first. 2 very, very macro-centric openings. So I can't imagine, like, for Bunny, this is one of the nicest builds to go up against because it's not a temple where you're just going to go, ugh, screw my life. And it's not a 15 pool where you're going to have 6 Lings to deal, or with 1 Marine to deal with 6 Lings-ish, pushing at your front door. So, you know, for both these guys, it's very, very safe and standard. And
yeah, there's really nothing out of the ordinary happening in this game. The only things that I'm keeping my eyes on, Bunny, is he going to take that gas now? Yes, he will. Okay, so no crazy bomber level 3rd command center where we're like, man, this guy's really vulnerable to road failing attacks. There's the gas. So everything is lining up pretty similarly for sLivko as compared to the last game. And Bunny has just tuned his build to be a little bit greedier. And I always find it funny to like compare those setups because you imagine that Nimbus being the bigger map is the greedy map, but Merry-Go-Round, I guess, not a lot of fear being shown because of the 3-player setup.
Like, I love watching Bunny these days for like multiple reasons, but these days he's really kind of like shimmied up his style a lot. When I see him go CC first, a lot of the time you can be like, okay, that's just like a safe macro-centric opening. But you'll often see Bunny now whip out a 2-base all-in where he just crushes his opponent, and it looks like he was made to do it. Like his builds are very, very clean and crisp. And you know, what can we see out of Bunny at this point in time? I'm sure sLivko knows that he's playing against a guy that's fully capable of that kind of style too. He's getting away with this like bunker at the front. He's going to have Reactor Hellion on the way, and really, like, he can do anything from this opening. So I'm really, really looking forward to see what he can do. Early speed by sLivko, like when I say early, normal timed with a hatch first. Second gas on the way for Bunny. Like this kind of indicates to me that he'll probably be going for like a starport follow-up.
Yeah.
Maybe an armory as well.
Yeah, and those are the kinds of plays that are quite strong. If you get yourself in a position where you can do a lot of Hellion pushing and forget slowing down the creep, if you can just be a nuisance at that 3rd base, if you go for the follow-up with either the Banshee or the, especially Banshee Hellbat, then things can get tricky very quickly for the Zerg because you don't have a choke point, which means you can really you can like spread out your Hellbats well enough that they'll wreck Lings easily, but also won't be super clumped up against Banelings. So these are some of the things that sLivko really needs to keep his eye on as far as what he's scouting for and what he's prepared to deal with, since that starport is on the way to Muslim.
That starport, and from this point on, if we look at where the 3rd base is for sLivko, it's in the safest location. You don't take that one on the far right because it's just too close to the Terran base, and trying to defend that, like, creep spread takes a while to get to it. But if we think about how far creep spread in general just takes to get to either one of those 3rds, it takes a while. So what's Bunny going to take advantage of here? He's going to try and take advantage of the fact that Queen's going to be off creep and slow, and if you can pick damage at them... Oh, Bunny didn't even actually scout at the start of this game. So he's using these 2 Hellions to find out what's going on here, and upon seeing this creep spread being spread and that drone moving over, like, he's going to be quite happy with this.
Yeah, so you know about the 3rd base position. You have that very wide angle of attack. Since you don't have any type of ramp towards the 3rd, this is like the polar opposite of Deadwing, where there's just one way to go into all these bases. He can pressure the natural and the 3rd while simultaneously clearing up the creep spread if he keeps the pressure on well enough. And sLivko, yeah, as the observer's pointing out, he has not seen anything. He cannot be sure what's coming his way, and he's going to start up this Baneling Nest as a, it's not necessarily a bad time to get it, but it's not exactly what he needs to stop this either.
No, it isn't. He's going to need like a Spore Crawler, a few more Queens out. And these Banshees, they don't necessarily have to like knock on the front door with these Hellions. They can immediately go to a base and start dealing damage in the mineral line. And sLivko, he's actually handling this pretty well. He's just keeping his Queens on creep, making sure that just attacking, not moving too far away from his drones. We even saw him prematurely pull his drones there at threat of like an army coming through. But here, no Spore just yet in that mineral line, so quite a few drones will immediately die to this Banshee. Does he have cloak yet? Doesn't look like it.
It's about to finish up.
Took quite a bit of damage there, actually. So
Yeah.
sLivko so far is holding off everything well.
Yeah, backing off without the Spore being there too. Like, could have maybe squeezed out a few more worker kills, but he's posturing himself to press the front. And those Spores that were built, were any of them at that front area? Can he just try to cut off? I'm really wondering if he's going to try to cut off like towards where the third base is, like if he can prevent any units from moving in between the natural and third. And so now moving the Spore, like this is what I was talking about. This is very important for him not to get bullied too much by the Hellion Banshee.
And it doesn't look like he is. I mean, those are 4 Queens available at the front there. So like they can deal with Banshees very well.
Lots of transfuses too.
Yeah, transfuses. I mean, Cloak Banshees gonna deal damage, but as soon as they start getting over to the Spore here, like damage can't be done. He's gonna really try and pull the whole army to the left there. Oh, in fact, he's gonna try and get transferring drones.
This is really solid positioning by sLivko to not have any openings that can be punished by Bunny. Bunny's like, you know what? Okay, send some of my units back, let him build some energy, decloak him, and just take my third because I know that you're really well defensively positioned, so not as likely to attack me. What is interesting are the 3 tech structures he's building, though. A Spire, okay, makes sense. Infestation Pit, maybe a bit greedy, but a Roach Horn on top of all of it?
You are more than right. And the Spire, like, he's seen the Spire now, so he knows that he doesn't have to worry about making turrets defensively for at least a little while here. Is he going to lose that Queen? Ooh. Does just get away.
Get the Banshee out of there. Okay, escapes with both still. But yeah, this isn't normal. Like, most of the time...
The Roach Warren doesn't make sense.
Yeah, like, most of the time you're moving into, like, Baneling Mutants. Like, okay, and if you feel like you're ahead as a Zerg, you get the Infestation Pit so that you can go to a Hive to get upgrades, or if you're really crazy, Swarm Hosts. But, yeah, the Roach Warren, maybe he's just concerned. Maybe he was like, I don't know if there's going to be 1,000 Hellbats. No, he's getting Roach Speed. He wants it as part of his army.
And before this cast, we talked about, like, what is sLivko known for? And you talked about, well, the one time you played him, he Roach Bane all into you, which we've seen in the first game, and I talked about that kind of 11-minute timing where he goes for, like, Roach Bane
second stim from Bunny actually really weakens up these Marines, but those Widow Mines got cash money hits.
Those were sick hits. And,
I was like, the stims are real. Jesus.
Oh, man, these units are low, but they can still deal damage. And is he going to focus those Banelings?
Oh, that Baneling. The Baneling to be the happiest Baneling ever.
Off creep, he does snipe one, so waited to get off creep before he turned around there. Bunny actually has a little upgrade advantage, I suppose. He has started his +2, not yet his +2 armor, but his infrastructure is really going to start kicking in soon. 25 SVs at this third here that are rather oversaturated, but he's really getting ready for the late game here.
Yeah, loading up for some drop play. The Hive is coming in, so
tanks again.
Damn, he really doesn't like playing against this Roach style, huh?
No, he really commits to making tanks too. Like, it's not just getting 1 or 2 tanks, he's getting quite a few. So sLivko, 17 drones all at once. Do you see this drone count, what it's going to go up to?
This is pretty insane. He's going closer to like 100 drones now. Well, Bunny's like, it's okay, I'm more than happy to help you clear a few of these bad boys out.
That Spire.
Oh no.
That Spire, that's a lot of gas that he can no longer put to use.
Yeah, you lose the +1 attack on the mutants that you already have, but also, knowing sLivko, he was probably thinking about getting a greater Spire too when his Hive was done.
Probably was. So Roach speed is done, Baneling speed on the way. He's got a lot of drones, 98 drones at this point in time. That is a crazy amount. What's next for sLivko here? Because he's got a huge amount of gas. He hasn't started remaking his Spire yet. He's going straight for Ultralisk Cavern. And the energy upgrade for Infestors.
Yeah, okay, so Pathogen Glands makes sense if he wants to go for, because we've seen him use Infestor play with the Hive tech all the time, but Ultralisks, it's going to be tricky because he really needs to get that creep spread out towards his opponents. Like, his creep is so far away from the 4th, like, defending is pretty much his only option. And Bunny, if he clears the creep out a bit more, he's still going to have I think, a relatively okay time handling this. The one thing about going Marine tank, though, that does put an edge, again, at least for Ultras, is there's not a lot of Marauder production possible.
No, there isn't. I mean, sLivko doesn't want to fight off creep here. He really doesn't want to fight off creep. And, like, he's committing to this. And Bunny, great spread. Great spread, in fact. Like, these Banelings aren't really getting the connects that they need and they deserve. A tank also positioned at the watchtower. Widowmine got a hit on the right. But, you know, like, sLivko can't be taking these fights because they are inefficient. And while he does have a huge drone count, his army, it's sadly lacking because of it. So while he is kind of equal in supply here, it's not equal at all within regards to his army. He really needs to wait for those Ultras.
Yeah. Oh, that tank picking off the Banelings on the high ground.
And this is a game-winning position right here because not only is his mineral line under threat here from these tanks, but everything else too. So these Marines, they're just kind of running in here, dealing damage, and how do you deal with them without mutants? You don't.
No. Ultras are going to come out, so he's got basically one move to make here, and that's just to bum rush this position and get him off of his fourth. He needs the money. He needs that because as soon as he starts to trade, he doesn't have any bank to rebuild his army with.
These Ultras are going to be quite pivotal, actually, because Bunny doesn't really have much to deal with them. And while he's dealing damage to his fourth, for sure.
He'll have to, too, but he won't have chitinous plating. So that's the only thing he has against it. Now he sees the Ultra. He sees it immediately, and I think the single Marauder production he has going on is...
Does he have chitinous?
Okay, no, I don't think so.
He didn't upgrade chitinous? That's quite a...
No, he didn't get it yet.
No. I mean, that's like 2 armor upgrades in 1, so...
Yeah, Marines are capable of killing Ultralisks, as you can see, without that chitinous plating.
Whoa, they just slaughtered those Ultralisks that ran at him, and now he's getting some good splits.
Especially off creep, he can actually kite him a little bit. Oop, the fungal misses. And that's about as much as Bunny could possibly ask for. He's going to try to remax behind this on 52 lings. The Infestors are still pushing forward. Yeah, he's got a lot of Zerglings in production behind this this attack.
And I mean, right now, if I was sLivko, I'd be like, bam, bam, 2 hatcheries on the left side because he can afford it. And with 90 drones available, like, your main's got to be mining out pretty soon.
Yeah.
That little 4 in a dropship.
He was stuck. Yeah. He needed a little pickup.
Now the Marine production slowed down. I was going to say
he switched over some tech labs onto his barracks too.
So he's realized the threat of these Ultras, and I mean,
this
right now,
SimCity is kind of working against Bunny though, with the way that some of these units are getting stuck in between buildings.
Are these units actually stuck though, or has he just not realized that they're there?
It's rallied out. I don't know. Good unfortunate. He's going to take a fight in the center of the map off creep. He's pushing in on this army. The Thor is going to get left behind, and a couple more tanks could be quite useful. Watch out for the fungal, though. There's so many Marines. 3-3 is on the way. I still think there's no chitinous plating, so the Ultras still can dance a bit, but...
that no chitinous is huge. I mean, that literally is 2 upgrades, 2 armor upgrades.
Yes. I think with these fungals, Ultralisk Baneling actually getting on top of this army, like, I'm really starting to think that, you know, sLivko has a phenomenal opportunity here to just try to take this game, but he just needs to be a little bit more careful. Like, if all these tanks, all the forces of Bunny actually get out here, this is where things get really difficult.
Those tanks on the high ground are really cool, but this Ultra in the mineral line, this is even cooler.
Yeah, Killing pushing up the ramp into the natural at the same time. This whole army running away and trying to use this choke point. Like, the lack of the upgrades in the Ultras are the only reason my buddy is able to push this back for now. But hot damn, this is a wild game so far. Like, he's trying to pull him away even more. Don't want to take those Ultra hits. Oh.
Do not want to take those Ultra hits at all.
These tanks on the high ground, damn.
So well placed, but, you know, I feel it's all too little. I mean, right now, yes, Bunny's holding this off. Oh, nice drop.
Oh, he's right on. He's that Greater Spire too. I'm not sure he can afford to do too much about it just yet, but a very important read to be able to make, and I'm wondering if we're going to see some Viking production. I don't believe there are any Corruptors on the map just yet, but...
These drops are really buying Bunny a lot of time. He's got a second one on the way. The first, or initial one that was attacking the natural there is kind of positioned and postured on the left side of the map, but sLivko still not getting that chitinous plating now, so, you know, a few little nerves there playing amok, but that makes Ultras so much weaker, especially against Marines, given that their damage normally it's 3 damage per hit against Ultras, whereas now, for this situation in the game, they're dealing 6 damage. In fact, like, probably 6 damage per hit,
6 damage until the 3-3 is done, I think.
Yeah, and then it's 5 damage, but even still...
That's a lot. It's when you have a dozen or so Marines at a time firing, it's a big deal. These Roaches are getting wrecked in the main base. Of course, they don't have any attack upgrades, so they have a quite difficult time killing these Marines. And he's pulling him every which way. There's one thing that this army's not good at, and that's killing things that are in the sky, but he's going to flank this ground force, all of the tanks will get cleaned up. Now keep in mind, the Greater Spire is about to finish up. 2 more starports are being added on, 5 Corruptors are coming out, so he can make the switch into Broodlords, but he's just got units in all of his bases.
Look at the main, look at the main. He's even fighting the main. So many drones here. And like, he doesn't have to worry about mutas for the time being. There's no anti-air that can catch up with these medevacs. So these Corruptors...
And even if he could kill any of these Corruptors with his Marines in this main base, it'd be quite a nice pickup because he's ready. I would say he's ready to build Broodlords, but this denial of economy has made it quite difficult for him to get any more. And if he doesn't have another fungal, he can still escape!
Whoa, get the hatchery, get the hatchery. You have
Finish him!
Few units there. Is he going to get a hatchery? No, he doesn't focus it. That's a bit of a blunder by Bunny there. I mean, he's nice little drop in the main, but does get cleaned up by.
But Bunny just bought himself all the time he could have ever needed, and he's got a fusion core on the way.
He's seeing the Corruptors. He's making Vikings. Like this game, Bunny's turned it around. He got a 4th base up in the top. He's got a 5th base set up with a PF as well. So he's getting ready for the next stage of the game. And those Ultralisks not having chitinous plating is a big deal, but the fact that he got all those drops off, he recognized the lack of mutas and could get away with it, and now sLivko's in a lot of trouble. 14 drones at once now, wants to go back up to 90. He's crazy.
He scans, he sees the Broodlords on the way. I don't think there's too much else that he needs to do here, right? Like, he's getting Corvid reactors, so his Ravens that he could eventually end up making will be quite nice, allowing him to use Seeker Missiles against Corruptors or Point Defense Drone. Putting the Marauders up front is also nice. Like, the Broodlord account isn't threatening enough. I think his Bio Army's worried about it. It's all about when he takes a fight. It's going to be a lot of sustained DPS on that force.
The problem for sLivko is, like, this isn't an army that you can just rebuild at any point in time. And fighting on creep here is a bit messy by Bunny, but...
The one high ground fungal was nice, but I still don't think... Did he ever get chitinous plating?
No, he still doesn't have it. Still sadly lacking it. And now has a severe lack of anti-air too.
And his infestors are out of energy, so the infestor Broodlord combination, like, he hasn't reached the... It's not in its final form, as one would say, and now battle cruisers are on the way.
I almost feel like Bunny could pick up a few drops and just send them to like the main, the natural.
Yeah, I'd love to see that.
Because I mean, this Ultralisk army, it's great in these big collisions where it's
when the armies actually crash head to head.
Yeah, and I mean, if you have like 8 Ultras bashing against your army, then as a Zerg, great, but this is a slow army. This is an army that's meant to be split up, and if Bunny just kind of trades out a few of these Marines, which, they're not as useful as they should be at this point in time, just with like bases and stuff.
Yeah.
Great trades could be made.
I mean, he could add on a couple more command centers and start to kill his own SCVs too while he's at it.
I love that he's adding on upgrades though. I mean, not upgrades, bases continuously. Like, it's a really smart move. Sometimes you can get a little ahead of yourself and start trying to trade out as much as you can, but he's playing very cautiously, very methodically, and just adding on bases. And his tech now getting up to BCs with Yamato. I mean, Bunny, you are crazy, but I like it.
That's really all he needs, though. Like, this ground army is completely useless against that. And once he gets enough BCs out with the number of Vikings that he's already produced, he can make it happen. He still has, of course, that very mobile bio army. And he sees the hatchery on the left side. He can drop it. And he also has a drop going over towards that natural expansion, as you'd mentioned earlier, just abusing the immobility of this force.
And he's kind of identified what he needs to do at this point. Like, he's getting a very, very healthy army together, and now he's just utilizing the fact that, hey, I got a very mobile army that can clean up bases very quickly. Ooh. Does get away. Just drops into the spine crawler field, which not yet active, but should be able to get a few drones here, hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, at the very least, he's still pulling the army around, he's still distracting him, and he's building 4 battle cruisers right now. So at this point, time is on Bunny's side. He's building the superior army. Like, you're not gonna beat a maxed out BC army. The only thing he needs is a couple more, or maybe a couple Ravens to throw in if he really feels cheeky.
Yeah, and you get the Ravens because you want the PDDs
Point
against
defense
those Corruptors.
drone. Point defense drone.
And he keeps scouting this army with medevacs. He's got a few medevacs just kind of, chilling, clearing up this creep continuously. Sees a lot of spore crawlers, but it does get to a position here where Bunny's going to have a lot of air, which can clump up very, very easily. Ooh. Those drones. Oh, what a fungal.
Nice fungal.
Yeah, these
He now has more supply to build battle cruisers.
I mean, that's the silver lining on that situation. Getting fungal, though, it is such a sucky feeling.
Yeah. 4
BCs at once, though, and I mean, these BCs have decent upgrades too. We have 2-1 in air, like 2 attack, 1 armor. And he's getting Vikings to assist them too. Although,
Yeah, I like everything about this from Nick. Now the battle cruisers will rear their ugly heads. He has, as you mentioned earlier, the Yamato, so picking off the corruptors, he can watch out them, or he can also go for the corruptors. Now the Vikings do all get fungled in one clump, which is actually pretty nice, because if you can take out the battle cruisers, then suddenly the mass Viking isn't going to deal with the ground force all that well. And the Ultras are trying to clean up bases in the midst of all of this. The Queens with a good amount of transfuses. Bunny, now just barely holding ahead in supply right now, but he does have a few more battle cruisers coming out and still on the way.
Bunny's bio is on the other side of the map, dealing damage to sLivko's base here. So, you know, he's trying to take out economy and buildings here. Even units in the 4th base of sLivko, they're both trading out. And these BCs, while they will eventually get these Ultras, once they catch them, oh, lots of damage being done. Like, these are SVs that Bunny can't afford to lose. At this point, the game's getting really, really out of control for both of them.
Yeah, I mean, he's just all over him at this point. And
taking out all the mining hatcheries. This is a great move by Bunny.
Yeah, there's only one left on the northwest side of the map, and you have to keep in mind that there's still nothing that can really contest the mass battle cruiser setup of Bunny. And the more time he gets, the more energy he has, and then you can Yamato. You one-shot the Corruptors. Like, Corruptors, yeah, they counter them normally, but when they build up this much energy and you can fire up 6 Yamato cannons at once, what are you supposed to do?
Happy days, certainly. The last fight, there wasn't quite enough fungals left to deal with all those Vikings, because he got a good fungal on them.
He got a sick fungal.
Like a good 7 or 8 Vikings, which is kind of like weak. But here, these are vital structures being picked up now.
Infestation Pit, going for the Greater Spire if he can.
I mean, he lost his Hive, so he can no longer get a Hive again, but you know, if you pick up that Greater Spire, that's it. No more Broodlords. And then what do these Corruptors do? But, oh, well, you know, they're cool anti-air and such, but if you then just switch into a mass bio army again, which it looks like that's what he's going for along with these BCs. In fact, how many oh, this is a lot of BCs still on the field.
How many? He has 8 battle cruisers. That's quite an impressive fleet, Commander.
Certainly is. sLivko did a good job of cleaning up a lot of these bases from Bunny, as did Bunny, but now he's against an army that's superior.
Yeah, you step in range and you get Yamato cannoned.
That's kind of a sad feeling.
Now he's going to run up. The thing is, the fungals and the BCs aren't as effective. Now the fungal on the Vikings on the left side, this is quite nice.
But
they're still doing they're still attacking. Yeah, the battle cruisers are still strong enough to wreck face on their own, and he's going to throw out the infested Terrans. And yeah, he'll kill one of the BCs, but the battle cruisers natively have quite a bit of armor. So
let's look at the bit north as well. If we see the bio dealing with the Ultras, and a nice kiting here too. So sLivko,
I can win BCs versus Corruptors while kiting Ultralisks with Marauders. He's dropping mules. He's
making a mule wall.
He's blocking the pathing.
He's trying to. I mean,
it's pretty funny.
Looks more like mana mules than mule blocks, but yeah,
it's a mule avant-garde.
We actually did see Bunny mana mule in this group stage.
Yeah,
which was kind of cool.
Bunny is on fire. Great game. GG's called, and Bunny up to